Good morning, children. This is English video session for class 10. Book is First Flight, and the topic number is 9. Chapter number is 9. Madam rides the bus. Okay, now we saw how Valli has got into the bus with her savings, and when her mother is sleeping, she just slipped off so that she can go to the city and come back. She sees all the things in the roads. What is that? There was a cow that was chasing before the road, and she was seeing how the cow was running very fast and afraid of the bus, and how the drivers was finding difficulty in driving the bus. Somehow this was very funny to Valli. She laughed and laughed until there were tears in her eyes. Hey lady, haven't you laughed enough? Called the conductor. Better save some for tomorrow. At last the cow moved off the road. As soon as the bus came to the railroad crossing, a speck of train could be seen in the distance, growing bigger and bigger as it drew nearer. Then it rushed past the crossing gate with a tremendous roar and rattle, shaking the bus. Then the bus went on and passed the train station. From there, it traversed a busy, well laid out shopping street, turning entered wider and thoroughfare. Such big, bright looking shops, what glittering display of clothes and other merchandise, such big crowds. Struck dumb with wonder, Valli gaped at everything. Then the bus stopped and everyone got off except Valli. Hey lady, said the conductor, aren't you ready to get off? This is as far as your 30 paise takes you. No, Valli said, I'm going to back on the same bus. She took another 30 paise from her pocket and handed the coin to the conductor. Why? Is something the matter? No, nothing the matter. I just felt like having a bus ride, that's all. Don't you want to have a look at the sights now that you are here all by myself? I'll be much too afraid. Greatly amused by the girl's way of speaking, the conductor said, but you aren't afraid to come in the bus? Nothing to be afraid of it about, she answered. Well, then why don't you go to the stall over there, have a drink? Nothing to be afraid of that either. No, no, I couldn't do that. Well, then let me bring you a cold drink. No, I don't have enough money. Just give me my tickets. That's all. It'll be my treat, not cost you anything. No, no, she said firmly. Please, no. The conductor shrugged and they waited until the time for the bus to begin and return the journey. Again, there weren't many passengers. Wouldn't your mother be looking for you? The conductor asked when he gave the girl her ticket. No, 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 no one will be looking for me, she said. The bus started, and again there was the same wonderful sight. Valli wasn't bored even the slightest and greeting everything with the same excitement she had felt at the first time. But suddenly she saw the young cow lying dead on the roadside, just when it had been struck by some fast moving vehicle. Isn't that cow that ran in front of a bus on our trip to the town? She asked the conductor. The conductor nodded. She was overcome with sadness. What have been a lovable, beautiful creature just a while ago, and now suddenly lose its charm and its life look so horrible, so frightening as it may lay there, legs spread, eagled, and fixed stare in a lifeless eyes, blood all over. The bus moved on. The memory of the dead cow haunted her, dampening her enthusiasm. But no longer she wanted to look. She no longer wanted to look out of the window. Sat thus glued to her seat until the bus reached her village at 3:40. She stood up and stretched herself. Then she turned to the conductor and said, well, sir, I have to see you again. Okay, madam, he answered her, smiling. Whenever you feel like bus ride, come and join us and don't forget to bring your fare. She laughed and jumped down from the bus. Then away she went, running straight to her. When she entered her house, she found her mother awake and talking to Valli's aunt, one from the South Street. This aunt was a real chatterbox, never closing her mouth once she started talking. And where have you been? Said her aunt when Valli came in. She spoke very casually, not expecting a reply. So Valli just smiled, and her mother and aunt went on with their conversation. Yes, you are right. So many things in our midst of the world outside. How can we possibly know about everything? And even when we don't know about anything, we often can't understand it completely, can we? Oh, yes, breathed Valli. What? Said her mother. What did you say? Oh, I was just agreeing with what you said about things happening without our knowledge. Just a chit of a girl she is, said her aunt, and yet no, look how she spoke her nose into her conversation, just as though she was a grown lady. Valli smiled to herself. She didn't want them to understand her smile, but then she wasn't much chance for of that was there. Translated from Tamil, K.S. Sundaram, okay, and illustrated by R.K. Lakshman. Children, now in this story we can see how the young girl had an ambition, it was an aspiration, it was an inspiration for her to go all the way to the town bus and travel in that and be back on that bus. It will be very successful. She felt very happy and what to say, she was overwhelmed, but the sight of the dead cow totally made her sad, and she understood that the once happy is not always happy. It had lost its life. The lifeless thing haunted her. She did not even have the courage to look through the window the next moment, and there she came back to to her mother, only to find out that yes, she came safely back to the village, and her mother was chatting with the thing, and she saw that when they were talking about some abstract thing about the world, she also joined it. And when they commented that it's a nice, it speaks like an overgrown girl, they feel Valli really feels that she is grown in her thought and thing, not thoughtfulness. So you can work on the thinking about the text and writing the question and answers, children, the writing part also. Now we'll continue with the tale of Custard the Dragon. This poem is written in the style of a ballad, a song of the poem that tells a story. Okay, you must be familiar with ballads that narrates the courage of heroism. This poem is a humorous ballad close to the parody. Okay, usually ballad means something like praising something, courage of heroism, all these things. Belinda lived in a little white house with a little black kitten and a little grey mouse. What are the two things? Little black kitten, little grey mouse. And a yellow dog and a little yellow dog and a little red wagon. And Realio, Trulio, little pet dragon. Okay, little pet dragon. What is this Realio, Trulio? Only to make the sound of the ballad, okay? Now, the name of the little black kitten was Ink, and the little grey mouse she called it Blink, and the little yellow dog she was sharp as mustard, and the dragon was a coward and she called it a custard. Okay, Custard the dragon had a big sharp teeth, and the spike on the him on top of him, and scales underneath, mouth like a fireplace, chimney from the nose, and Realio Trulio daggers on his toes. Belinda was a brave and a barrel full of beers, as a barrel full of beers. And the ink and the blink chased lions down the stairs. Mustard was as brave as tiger in the rage, and Custard cried for nice safe cage. Okay. Now let's see. Belinda tickled them, and she tickled him unmerciful. Ink, Blink, Mustard, they rudely called him Percival. They all sat laughing in the little red wagon at the Realio Trulio cowardly dragon. Belinda giggled till she shook the house, and Blink said, "Weak, which is giggling for a mouse." Ink and Mustard rudely asked his age, and when Custard cried for a nice, safe cage. Suddenly, they heard a nasty sound, and Mustard growled, and they all looked around. Meow, cried Ink, and ooh, cried Belinda, for there was a pirate climbing in the window. Pistol in the left hand, pistol in the right hand, in his right, and he held his teeth in a cutlass bright. His beard was black, one leg was wood. It was clear that the pirate meant no good. Belinda, paled and cried, "Help, help!" But Mustard fled with a terrified yelp. Ink tickled down to the bottom of the household, and little Mouse blinked strategically mousehold. But as Jump Custard, snorting like an engine, clashed with his tail like iron in a dungeon, with a clatter and a clank and a jangling squam, He went at the pirates like a robin at a womb. The pirate gaped at Belinda's dragon and gulped some grog from his pocket flagon. He fired 2 bullets and they didn't hit. And Custard gobbled him but every bit. Ah, come inside. Belinda embraced him, Mustard licked him. No one moved for his pirate victim. Ink and Blink with the in a glee did gyrate around the dragon that ate the pirate, but presently up spoke little Mustard, and I have been twice as brave and as I have hadn't been frustrated, and up spoke Ink and up spoke Blink. Yes, sit. And we have the Blink. Still, Belinda still lives in her little white house with her little black kitten and her grey mouse and her yellow dog and a lead wagon and a really truly little dragon. Belinda is as brave as barrel of full of beers, and Ink and Blink chase lions with the down the stairs, and Mustard is as brave as tiger in the rage, but Custard keeps crying for a nice safe crutch or ganache. It's only the sounds and entertainment, and with lots of humor in the poem. Okay, children, this is by Organosh. Please read it 3 to 4 times and understand the rhyming pattern. There is no rules in this poem. It's all written in a that is the main thing of a ballad. Okay, can also try in for the thinking about the poem, the question and answer, and the writing structures of the poem in your classwork. Thank you, children. I stop here.